Will, thank you so much for joining us today. Really excited to talk a little bit more about the Littles project, but kind of wanted to start out to learn a little bit about you and kind of what brings you here, what you do for the project, and then maybe after that, give us a brief overview of what's going on.
For sure. Well, my name is Will, founder of the Littles, and now before I jumped into Web3, I have been in business for the last 10, 12 years, multiple different industries, 2 different exits, currently still operating an event company with over 100 staff per season. And so that's kind of my journey of entrepreneurship has always been very curious and has always been very active. And it was not until last summer, which I was really hearing a lot more about this whole NFT thing. It was the Beeple thing, that his painting selling for $69 million that got me really intrigued about this Ponzi scheme, about this scam and everything. Not to call people a scam or anything. It was just my perception at that time. Ignored it. I thought that, you know what, it doesn't make sense. And then a few months later, Top Shot came around and it was all the fad and everything. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Now I really got to pay attention. Like, what is this whole NFT thing? And then that's when I really jumped into NFTs and decided to purchase my first one. And within the week, I'm like sold. I'm like, this is the future. This is so revolutionary. This is everything. It's going to change the game. So I completely degened into it and started to trade a lot of NFTs. And at the same time, I told myself that, you know what, in the next 3 months, I'm not going to start any project, do anything. I'm just going to trade because I really want to understand the nuance of this industry. I want to understand how it feels. I want to understand the opportunities. I want to understand the tech. And so that was a rule that I set for myself to save me from myself as an entrepreneur. And then during that time, I went to the park with my 2.5-year-old daughter. Her name is Jordan. And that was the moment that really inspired me to create the Littles. It was her on top of the slide, puffing up her chest in the most authentic, in the most brattiest way, ready to conquer the world. And for me, that was everything of simplicity. It was everything of being authentic and just fun. And that was the exact same feeling that I had when I first started trading NFTs. And I'm like, that encapsulates this essence of this entire movement. And for me, I'm like, this is the inspiration I need, and this is the drive I need. This is the values that I need for the project that I'm going to start, which eventually became the Littles.
That's beautiful, man. I love the whole journey aspect of it. It's incredible, and you mentioned Top Shot, and that was my entry into the space as well. And it's been a crazy freaking 2 years, which is crazy to say out loud as well. So kudos to your journey, and I love the inspiration behind the project. So for those not familiar, can you kind of give us a rundown on what exactly the Littles is and what it's trying to be in the space?
Totally. And even when I first started, the Littles was just pure inspiration. I knew that it was very value driven, especially because it's a passion project. It's something that I'm like, hey, you know what? I've done business for a while. I want to be able to create something that I'm truly excited about, something that I'm proud of. And funny enough, in the last 10 years, everything that I've done, not entirely proud of. Not that it was shady or anything. It was legitimate business. It was in the food and beverage space. It was in the entertainment space, event space, but none of which I'm like, I would yell on the top of my lungs and share with my friends and family, like, check us out. This is something really cool. I'm really proud of this. It wasn't until I started the Littles that gave me that feeling, and that gave me the I guess, okay to share it. And I guess I like to keep things a little bit more private, but until this came around, it has such a good cause to it. It has such a great mission. It has a really great purpose behind it. And it's something that I'm really, really proud of because, well, it's inspired by my daughter. And when we first launched the project, it was from a gaming perspective because that was the opportunity in the marketplace. Just starting any type of project without solving a need in the marketplace and just simply copy and pasting doesn't work. And which is the reason why it helped the fact that I was trading all along, and I understood the community aspect. I understood all the projects that came out, and I understood the problem in the marketplace, which was all these tokenized projects coming out with very little sinkholes, very, very little ecosystems that they can plug themselves into, and which is the reason why we decided to create this arcade experience where we take on other projects as tokens into our ecosystem. So then that way we become a utility for other projects, and in turn we become the friends of the entire NFT space. That was the whole vision that we came out with, and that's the reason why we were able to get CyberKongs, Cool Cats, Subducks, Kaiju Kings as the first 4 partners to participate in our arcade system. And as we continue to build, we realize the vision is much bigger than just an arcade, that we can create this casual gaming experience that's very much like MapleStory, that's very much like Club Penguin, and that's exactly what we went out to do simultaneously while we're building up the arcade. Now, at the same time, creating a game without stories, it doesn't really work, because people buying into stories, people buy into a feeling, people buy into a connection that they have. And that's the reason why we were super lucky to be able to not just approach the project from an animation standpoint, but we were able to partner up with Time Studio to create an animation that's featuring the Littles and Jordy within the first 3 months. Incredible and super surreal moment for us, because it's like, wow, we get to be able to create something so surreal. So yeah, these 2 pillars go hand in hand, the gaming and the animation piece. It's very synergetic for each other. And so that's the main objective of this project.
That's a mighty amazing scope of goals there. How, where are you guys at right now with it? I mean, do you feel like you're achieving that? What's next for the project? Like where are we at in terms of, kind of flagship moments here?
A great question, because within the last year, actually November 25th, we're coming towards our 1 year mark. And within the last year, after we set out to achieve these things, we knew that we wanted to create the best possible minimal viable product. And with that being said, the MVP, we've began to have the partnership with Time, and not only that, we also got financing from Nelvana. Nelvana is one of the biggest studios in Canada, in the States too. They own YTV, Cartoon Network, and a bunch in Canada. So we actually was able to get a financing deal from them, and it's a partnership deal where they're going to be producing the first 4 to 5 episodes of this series, which is incredible for us, because a lot of IPs, they get they get acquired, but under production is very little that goes through production. So we're super lucky that we're in production at this moment for the animation piece. And not only that, we've also was able to collaborate and partner with Casetify, one of the biggest phone accessories in the world, and we're working on something more integrated with them. We were able to collaborate with American Eagle, and we had our whole campaign on Times Square, the whole billboard thing, which was completely surreal for us. Never even thought that was possible. So that's been super exciting. Our One Up Arcade was launched last month, and it was a huge success for us, because not only did we have 28,000 minted, this is a free mint, by the way, because our goal is for people to experience through this platform, which, by the way, everyone can and could still experience it right now. I'm just going to leave the link. Can I leave a link in the chat?
Of course you can. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Here you go. And then I'm also going to drop a Twitter link. So as a recap video that you can actually check it out for those that don't really want to participate. You can kind of see the gaming piece. And for us, we put everything that we could into this, because we knew that we wanted to create this MVP for us to go out and raise capital. And that's exactly what we're doing right now, is to go out there and raise capital. And yeah, really, really excited about this journey.
That's awesome. And for those of you listening to this later, that link is playside.thelittles.io. Again, playside.thelittles.io. Well, that's amazing. I mean, to raise capital. I mean, are there any potential future collaborations? Obviously, we don't want you to do what Solana did today and talk about them bringing on Beeple before they brought on Beeple to the platform. But are there any conversations that you're really excited about, or people you maybe have meetings with that might kind of excite people a little bit?
Yeah, well, man,
you don't have to reveal it if you don't want to. Yeah,
I don't like to jump ahead of myself as much as I'm really excited. And completely honest with you guys, like, I have no business doing any type of animation or gaming. Like, that's not my trade. It's something that my zone of genius is to be able to learn fast and to execute fast, and which got me into this place. And being able to raise capital means a lot to me, because as an entrepreneur that's been running for the last 10 years, I've never been able to raise capital, or never really approached it, because it seemed like a very foreign language. It seems like a very up-leveled skill that I have yet to achieve. And now we're getting very close. We have a product, we have some product market fit, and we have a really good narrative that we are approaching this fundraising with. And so we're in the process of doing that right now, and I don't really want to ruin any surprises, nor do I want to jeopardize any deals that are in discussion. But we do have a lot of letter of intent, and even through this market, even through the recession and everything that we're facing right now, I think it's because we're not coming to raise with just an idea. We're coming to raise with an execution of the idea that we have, the traction that we have, the expertise that we have, and the team that we have. Just for advisors alone, we have Will, who is the founder of Cryptoys, and Cryptoys just recently raised $30 million from A16Z, from Metal, and all the likes. Really, really big VC firms and whatnot. And his mission and his motto is very much similar. His inspiration is actually from his daughter, and they've been building this project since 2018. And so being able to have him on our side to advise us of, like, what are the potential pitfalls? How can we scale this? How can we bring this into a household brand is something that is incredible for our journey. And throughout this entire time, aside from Will, we also have other advisors who are very good at what they do to help us out with different pillars within our moat, or like rather our game plan. For example, Just Michael, one of the top TikTok stars out there, is advising us on how to crack the TikTok algorithm. And we also have Angel Poo, who is a 3-time tech entrepreneur, is helping us with our fundraising. She works at Dapper Labs and super well connected within that field as well. And then we have Andre, who is a founder himself, is helping us with our data room, our financials, and our projections and everything, and making sure that we have a viable business model, so then that way we can go and approach people, VCs and whatnot with it. So yeah, we have some really good teammates on the team to help us along this process.
That's awesome to hear. Love to hear things like that, and it's one of those things that is kind of becoming more and more important in this space is backing. So, originally it was, all right, this project's minting out, and your all's funds will go into this pile, and we'll pay for our devs, and we'll pay for the development of this product or this feature or this thing. And of course, people have been rug pulled quite a bit, and people have ran out of funds, things like that. But I love to see VC minded projects, specifically because you guys are trying to make this last longer, not to just slowly see it drain out from the funds that you guys used on Mint. So I commend you guys for that. But
totally. And just to add on that note, and thank you. There's a misconception of VCs, and I like to really point this out, because we're not just approaching any type of VCs that would give us money to build our project, because if we had that mindset, we would have taken money a long time ago when the bull market was in full swing. We had a lot of different interests because of our partnerships and our branding. But it was not really our intent to just take on any funding because of our why, the inspiration behind this. It's much more of a legacy for us. And I'm actually working on this with my partner, my wife of 5 years, and like she comes from a corporate background and she's the integrator of our project. And all in all, we want to be able to create something that actually honors our community, that is able to co-create with them, that we can actually create something that we can be super proud of. And which is the reason why with any VCs that we're talking to, we share this value with them right off the bat. We share with them that our community is our North Star, and that we will be taking and making decisions that are based upon what is the best for the community, and not just for the project, and not just for the cap table or whatever the case may be. And I think that's a big distinguisher, because a lot of VCs, they respect that and they value that, because that's what made us who we are to begin with.
Love it, man. I love it. Well, you mentioned something there. The bull market, which is amazing to relive the good old days, right? So you guys obviously minted around the bull market era. I mean, I think we were still pretty in prosperity times, right? Back in November. Yeah, from a project creator standpoint, and one that's kind of lasted a while in terms of building, what has it been like when you guys were building in the bull versus in the bear? Kind of give us a little bit of understanding on the differences, if there is any.
Great question. I think there's two parts to this. First of all, to answer your question, to build during the bull is very unforgiving, and it's very unforgiving in a sense that you're fighting against time, and you're fighting against being able to one up another all the time, every single day. And so we were putting in 14, 16-hour days into the project every single day for the last 10 months, me and my wife, and also the entire team. The entire team burnt out after we launched the arcade. I myself have burnt out, and it was not easy. So that's the entire kind of mindset and that people have during the bull run, because every single day that you don't deliver something, someone else is grabbing the attention. Someone else is one-upping another. And you're like, oh, goddamn, like, how can we actually do better? What kind of collaborations are we going to have? What kind of noise are we going to have to make? Like, these are all the pressure that you would have. Whereas right now, during the bear time, people don't really are not in it for that same purpose. People are not really asking for the same thing. Rather, the people that are choosing to stay, the people who are showing up, investing their time in listening, investing their time in this industry right now, are all believers of the industry as a whole. That's number one. And that they want to be able to do something in Web3 themselves. They want to contribute. They want to learn. They believe that one day this technology will change and be the future. So that's the reason why everyone is still here. And that's in my opinion, of course, and from my personal experience talking to my members. And the other hand is they choose to recite in the communities that they have shared values with, that they find like, hey, this is a group of people that I can actually jam with, and this is a community that stands for something that I'm looking for, whether it's talking about gaming, whether it's talking about animation, whether it's talking about trading. Like, people have different types of sub communities that they reside in, so then that way they get what they want. And I think that's what is really showing up in the bear market versus in the bull market, because in the bull market everyone's just everywhere trying to make their bucks and make their bags, right? So I think that's the biggest difference. Any questions there?
Yeah, I think I have a ton of questions. If that's okay.
Yeah. And by the way, and so yeah, please.
So I kind of wanted to get back to. By the way, I'm enjoying your feedback. I want to be very clear, but I wanted to get back to kind of the project at hand, right? I'll be honest with you. I've heard the Littles before this interview and before I did some research, obviously, but I wasn't that keen to it. I didn't know that much about it, so my apologies. I'm just getting caught up, but. Let's say that I am really interested in the future of the project. We obviously have a mint that's been around for a year at this point. And you guys have new things coming, and you guys are constantly doing things. Is the best way to still get involved in the project is to buy a little, or how would you recommend someone go about trying to get involved in the community, involved in the project that you guys are having right now?
I honestly think just come into our Discord and start jamming away and just getting involved. And you don't even need to get at Littles, right? Like we did a free mint, and part of the reason why is because there are, in the game of NFTs, I personally feel like there are two ways to build a project. One is purely from a standpoint of like, what are you trying to achieve with this? Like, are you treating this like a project, like a Kickstarter project, where you have a vision in mind, you want to build it out, and along the way, you're bringing your community together to build this project and to see this thing through, right? That is the approach that I personally am taking. Versus there are other projects who are more NFT projects, which plays on speculation, which plays on speculating news, which plays on speculating what would happen next. And therefore, because there's this speculation, the price would vary and fluctuate. And that's a different game that those people are playing. And it is quite manipulative in a sense where there are so many ways to uplift the floor price of a project that is going to show a different perspective per se, and such as, for example, you can, there are certain exchanges out there that you can actually talk to and get them to, or like for you to invest partial proceeds to create wallets to buy up your collection to have it sustain a certain floor price. There's wash trading. There's a few other ways that are available, which I know of that a lot of other project founders employ. And when project founders utilize that tactic, it's a never winning game for anyone in my perspective, because it's like, where is the end to that? And you end up playing the game of speculation rather than building something of value and something that would last for years to come. And so for me, you buying into the Littles or not has no relevance to me, but rather if you like what we are pushing out, if you like the values that we have, then come through our doors and just chat away. And if you can actually participate in certain initiatives as we continue to build out our game, as we build out our animation, you can partake in these things. And once you see something that you're like, hey, you know what, I really like this, then you can partake in, hey, you know what, let's get a Littles, let's get an NFT. And with those, there are different perks that we would be able to give back to our holders as well. So that's the difference. So for you to get involved, I would just, you know what, come check out our Discord.
That's awesome. I love that. And the next question I had is kind of a trend that we're seeing. I've interviewed so many projects for MVHQ, and I say that because there's been great projects and there's been some, I don't want to say awful projects, but some really just poorly planned projects, let's put it that way. And one of the commonalities I've seen recently, and one of the huge trends with the people I've been speaking with, has been saying, we want to bring the Web 2 space to Web 3. We want to bring Web 2 to Web 3. Is there any plans? Is there any, linking to the Web 2 space to Web 3 space here with the Littles project?
I actually, in the future, I think there's a huge potential there. because our vision is not just to create the littles. Like, we're currently creating our little flywheel. We have the formula to create a lovable character. We're working with Maria Perez Brown, who heads the head of animation and stories at Time Studio. We were working with Jess Michael, who tells great stories and not understands that platform a lot. We also have an animation studio that we've built out throughout the last year that is going to be able to churn out a lot of different outputs for us to go out there into the marketplace, because nowadays attention is the currency. As long as you're able to get people's attention, that's when you're going to be able to upsell. That's when you can sell your items, your brands, your NFT, whatever the case may be. And we also have experts within TikTok, YouTube for us to distribute these content. And we also have a gaming experience that is our proprietary platform, which we can plug in any IPs into. And we call this our little flywheel, that you can plug in any type of IPs, intellectual property, stories, or whatever the case may be, into our flywheel. And we're going to be able to scale that up quite rapidly. And so creating this flywheel allows us to scale, allows us to distribute our content, and it also allows us to supercharge our IP with NFTs. And with that being said, out comes the digital collectibles, out comes the different products that we would be able to monetize with. And that's kind of like the bridge that we're seeing from Web 2 to Web 3. So it's not like something that is a one step up, but rather it's a gradual on-ramp, utilizing NFTs as a technology to enable certain features rather than selling NFTs as a product itself.
Understood. I love your way of wording things is great. I feel like not many project founders are this well spoken and understanding of what's going on.
But by the way, I just thank you for that, and I just shared a little bit of like a sneak peek to you to show our moat and this little flywheel. I know it sounds very confusing to some, but there are visuals to support what I'm talking about, and in all, I think you can actually see it if you guys want to. It's on the screen right now. Yeah,
looking it over now.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of like the entire plan for it, like Web 2, Web 3. I think at the end of the day, we wouldn't be able to make or move the needle by any means until we have something of substance. And what I mean by that is until our animation is actually out into the world, until our gaming platform is actually fully executed, that's when the actual enablement utilizing NFTs will come into play. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing in the next few years as more and more projects utilize NFTs in the right way. I think that NFTs as a speculative asset is going to be more and more less common in the future, because speculative assets that we're playing with right now is pretty much like going to a casino. It doesn't really bring any type of real value from the real world, and which is the reason why I think NFTs is an enabler rather than a product itself.
Understood. That makes total sense. I love the way you explained that. I want to make sure that we allow people to ask questions. I don't see any here in the questions chat. But I always like to, if there are no questions or no one has a thought there, before I wrap these kinds of conversations up, I always want to make sure that there's not something that I forgot, or maybe we forgot together to bring up or talk about. So I want to make sure that I give you a chance to talk about something maybe we didn't discuss that you're excited about or wanted to present to the group here, and if not, just a great summary of what it is you guys are trying to get out to the world.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I think that like for everyone that's listening, I think that if you guys have an opportunity, definitely just check out the playside.thelittles.io, and just have a see for yourself what this entire experience is like. The one-up arcade experience is something that is rather complex for us to create. The entire intention for us to create this is, once again, it's going to act as an MVP for us to showcase to investors, showcase to our holders what we're capable of executing, how you can integrate smart contracts with gamification, with real life prizes that you can play. This entire experience is like a kid going into an arcade experience, buying tokens, playing games, going to the prize hut, exchanging for the prizes that they won. And not only that, the prizes that you win, you can actually win in real life prizes. We've given away iPhones, we've given away Switches. But then for the people that wants to partake into our gamified ecosystem, they can actually level up the littles into one of 4 different partners that we're partnering up with, such as CyberKong, Subducks, Kaiju Kings, and Cool Cats. And now we're also partnering up with Project Gojira, and their game's going to be launching in the next month. And then also we've partnered up with Mutant Cartels with their mutant bored apes that we have licensed out, and we've created an entire collection from those intellectual property. And so all the artwork itself has taken us 8 months to create. So if you want to just be able to see what a full-fledged experience that we've been raving about is like, definitely check it out at playside.thelittles.io. Or if you don't have the time, I've also included the link into the office hours chat, and you can just kind of see for yourself what that would look like.
Excellent. Everyone, for those of you listening to this later, the day today is 11/7/2022, and the timestamp on that is 6:16 p.m. EST. So adjust that for your time zone. You can go back and find those links. But again, it is playside.thelittles.io. Very easy to find. They're the Littles NFT on Twitter. Will, it has been a honor and a pleasure to talk to you. It's a great conversation. Really, really enjoy it. I hope to have you back sometime. But I want to thank you. And before you go, I wanted to ask, when are we going to have a Metaverse HQ game?
You know what? We can definitely discuss about that. The whole point of creating this arcade is it actually serves as a multiple different purpose. It's like we've created a platform, and it's very strategic and I don't mind sharing with you guys either, because with this arcade, we can now always onboard tokenized projects into our ecosystem by building them a new game, by building them new skins. And that in turn allows us to be relevant as the years go by, or as the months goes by. And at the same time, we get to cross-pollinate each other's community, and thus allowing us to be able to grow as we continue to build, right? So I think that's the entire strategy behind the One-Up Arcade experience. And anytime, I'm a big fan of MBHQ as well, and I hear so much great things about it, and it's something, a project that I personally respect a ton of. So yeah, definitely we'll definitely take this conversation offline for sure.
Sounds good. For the powers that be that do these kinds of backdoor deals, get on top of it. That's not it's not Ryan's job. But Will, again, thank you so much for being here. Everyone that's joined today to listen, thank you. Everyone listening later on, all the way through this, you are appreciated. And everyone just have a great day or night, whatever it is for you. But again, thanks for being here, and see you later.
Take care.